Pacific Northwest, Pacific Northwest.
Hey, this is Vince from Pacific North Weird, and we're here at the Oregon Ghost Conference in Seaside, Oregon. This is the biggest paranormal convention in the Northwest. It's a lot like Comic-Con, except people who attend Comic-Con will never become superheroes. But everyone here will all one day be dead.
It's a conference where people have the ability to have a dialogue about the paranormal.
We have psychic mediums, we have paranormal investigators, we have paranormal enthusiasts, we have people that are healers. Everyone under one roof. So if you have any questions about anything paranormal, you're sure to find the answer with someone here at some point.
So my interest in the paranormal started really from an interest in history. Why is Seaside haunted? All right, so there's a lot of ways that we think about why a particular city or place might be haunted.
There have been so many shipwrecks off of Seaside, this part of the Oregon coast, thousands of them, that people have found some shipwrecks that they don't even know what ship it was. And there are one or two places where the bodies did come ashore.
3 sailors came to shore to find water. As they got their water, got back into the boat to go back out to the ship, a storm came in. And next morning, these 3 bodies washed ashore. And nobody knows who they are. No one knew who they were, and they were buried right there in 1865.
Being an investigator, my hope is to find proof of a consciousness, which is kind of stupid because even as humans, we can't define consciousness for ourselves, being alive.
Everyone's trying to prove it, and I hear the word energy over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm not sure how you can prove the existence of the human soul with a electromagnetic pulse reader.
Trying to discover something beyond this life, whether it be some quantum spooky thing at a distance or ghosts or something else. I mean, it's not going to hurt us to find out more. I think if anything, it's going to help us, and if anything, restore faith that we most certainly have lost in this day and age. I think that we need to start engendering faith, and I don't care where it comes from, it just has to come.
I think the Pacific Northwest is a perfect place for ghost stories. One of the coolest things that I learned was that the Tillamook Lighthouse killed a lot of people in its production, and that they later turned it into a crematorium, which is the weirdest thing I've ever heard having been done to an Oregon lighthouse. I've been obsessed with Oregon lighthouses from being from the Oregon coast. That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard about the Oregon coast. That was news to me. I think that was really freaking awesome, and I would love to go out there. It's amazing.
It was a nightmare trying to build it. In fact, one construction worker was washed off very early in the construction and never found. Then 3 weeks before the lighthouse is open and finished, there was a shipwreck where 16 bodies washed ashore. Okay, so this was a major problem.
You know, it has all of the qualities of the Stay Off the Moors and the British Victorian horror films, you know, like where it's all just wet and foggy and stormy, and, you know, those are the moments that frighten us.
Bridge Tender in Seaside is one of the more haunted places in Seaside, or at least one of the more haunted places that I have direct connection to the owners.
The upper level of the Bridge Tender used to be a brothel. When you go up there, the walls are still pink. You know, it's decaying quite a bit because they don't really use that space, but there's so much activity in that place.
So last night we were with Vince at the Bridge Tender.
Vince got fondled by, I assume it was a spirit. No one was standing next to him at the time except for me, so it might have been me, but I don't think it was me.
Well, there was a gentleman playing pool one day right there right at the restroom.
Shit.
What happened?
Something touched my leg.
Really?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay. And it wasn't the door?
No,
Hadn't you?
like physically.
All right.
Like it felt like this.
So there you go. Okay, so let's be quiet, really quiet. Is there anyone here with us right now?
Vince had felt something touch the back of his thigh, as though the entity was sitting on the toilet, like within that range. There was something there that happened to Vince, and I think that's magical. That's just what he needed for this weekend to be complete.
I went to the Oregon Ghost Conference, and I got touched in the bathroom.
Consent is important. Spiritual consent.
It felt like this.
So there you go. Okay.
It felt like this.
So there you go. Okay.
It felt like this. So there you go. Okay.
People interested in the paranormal just didn't have a place to meet and chat and talk, and that's a lot of what happens here. So that's really the best part of the conference. In between things, just stopping to chat and just share experiences with other people.
I write a series of books on Oregon ghost towns.
I am the Port Gamble Weddings and Events Manager, but I also lead ghost walk tours.
Well, I have a TV show called Paranormal Crossings. It's a talk show, so I interview people that are in the paranormal field.
Oregon has more ghost towns than any other state.
No, we haven't coordinated a wedding at the Ghost Conference yet.
I'm a people person, love people. I do like to scare people from time to time, ask my family.
And in each book, we let people know where the area of the state, the county, what kind of car is necessary to get there, what kind of road you'll be facing, accurate directions to the very 10th of a mile on how to find the ghost town.
No, we've never had a wedding between a living and a dead person. Not yet.
Actually, they had different boards for us all to kind of play with, and my board was actually very active. I was just using it by myself. It made quite a few words, but the words weren't really spelled right most of the time, so I'm not sure if I could really trust what it said.
Learned a lot of stuff, like the origin of the word dead ringer. I had no idea that, like the word dead ringer was like, or saved by the bell. These terms come from people being accidentally buried alive. They couldn't confirm whether or not people were dead, and so they built these little bell structures that were attached to the hand of the corpse that was buried, and if the person came out of their coma or whatever, they would ring the bell.
When I wake up in the morning and the alarm gets out of warning, I don't think I'll ever make it on time. By the time I grab my books and I give myself a look, I'm at the corner just in time to see the bus fly by. It's alright, 'cause I'm safe out the bill.
Specifically here in Cascadia, up here in the Pacific Northwest, what a brilliant place to be a paranormal investigator. There's so much to see.
If there was a place in Oregon after I passed that I would like to haunt, probably Dante's Inferno. It's a bar.
If I was going to haunt someplace, it's going to be someplace cool. It's not going to be some remote, scary, mountaintop.
I would probably want to haunt Cannon Beach and the Haystack Rock area and scare the hell out of people looking for Goonies adventures.
I would haunt the Edgefield because, one, there are a whole bunch of other ghosts there, and it's just covered with cool art, and there are people there. What's the point of being a ghost if you can't every now and then kind of reach out paranormally?
If I was actually to pass away in this area, which I really don't want to right now, I've got stuff to do at home, I would love to come back and kind of occupy an area along the coast here with the way the waves crash on here and the huge rocks sticking out. And
So I think if I was a ghost, I would show up at the ghost conference. I would randomly screw with people's technology. If they were getting ready for a presentation, I would mess with their computer so that they would, have a stress level that I have had this weekend. This is also assuming that when I die, someone fills my place and keeps this thing going, which if that's the case, they're freaking crazy.
If I do pass away and I want to do something for all of eternity, I want Ouija board duty. That's what I want. Because then I can scare the hell out of teenagers who don't know how to play with a Ouija board correctly.
It's kind of like a family reuniting. for so many, especially in Oregon, Washington. There's so many groups coming together.
The people at the Oregon Ghost Conference, I think, are sincere, and that's what makes this a good operation. Rocky, the organizer, he's very sincere.
I have been at all the Oregon Ghost Conferences as a presenter and a vendor, and it just gets bigger and bigger and better.
I think it's an opportunity for people of like mind to get together. I think the more times than not, when you get like-minded people together and have a congruency in thought, it's a good thing. We have so much division right now in the world and in the country that something as simple as bringing people together to talk about ghosts, or to bring people together to talk about the things that scare them, or to bring people together to talk about the things that they really want to change in the world, I think is great.
The funny thing is we're all going to die someday, and we're all probably going to meet up somewhere and go, oh shit, did we have that wrong?